Hey everybody, my name is Minda Harts, and I'm just excited that you're here with us again. I know that I have not done Secure the Seat in a few weeks, but I am on summer break. I hope that you find some time to get some rest too, because rest is revolutionary. But I do miss you all on Mondays at noon. But a couple of things that I wanted to chime in. First of all, how was your weekend? If you're watching us live, tell me how your weekend was. Put it in the chat. If you've missed us for the last couple weeks, I hope that you've been filling your Monday mornings or afternoons with something special. So, what's going on? Are you enjoying your summer? For me, I'm actually writing my fourth book, so I needed to take a little bit of space to be able to do that, and so I figured, we have so much content. I hope that you go to my YouTube page, Secure the Seat, and you subscribe. There's so many um, videos. They hit different after you listen to them a few different times, but it's so good to see you all. It's so great to see you. I'm glad you had a good weekend. I'm seeing everybody in the chat. If you're watching us on LinkedIn, you know the vibes. If you watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, happy that you're here. And thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Marisha. Andrea, I'm seeing all the names. Carol, good to see everybody. So listen, a couple things I wanted to do for today's Secure the Seat. Again, if you're new, welcome. If you're been with us every Monday, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am taking, me and Mike and the team are taking a little bit of time off this summer, so you won't see us. Periodically I'll pop back in, but just to say hello. But I wanted to share a couple of quick things with you all. Number one, I have so many people that constantly ask me about the book writing process, emails, DMs, all the time. And since 2020, I've been hosting once a year. I host what I call the Secure the Seat Writers Retreat. Enrollment is open right now. So if you want to join us, Mike's going to drop the link in the chat. It's a virtual writing retreat, if you will. And we talk about all the things on how to get your book published out in the world. What's in a proposal? How do you market? All of the things. And so I know when I wrote my first book, I had no idea what I was doing. And I learned along the way. And I wish that I would have had some information, a community. And so this will be our fourth cohort that I've run. And so I hope that you can join us. So again, we're going to drop the link in the chat. And if you go on today, I'll probably leave it for a couple weeks, but I'm going to take $100 off it. And you can do payment plans. But for me, I want people to get the sauce. It's not enough for us, as you know, at Secure the Seat. It's not enough for us to get our seat at the table, kick our feet up, and just let everybody else fumble or do whatever without the right tools. We like to share because our success is not a solo sport. So check it out at least. We've had a lot of our alums have gone on to publish their own books through self-publishing. And then we also have those who have publishing deals with those out in the world. And so I just want to shout out to those who have participated in the Secure the Seat Writers Retreat. And for the first 25 students, you get a curated Secure the Seat gift box. So, and there's a lot of dope things inside of that. So again, if you're looking to write your book, you've been sitting on it, you've been talking about it, but you just haven't executed, join us. The other thing that you've probably been seeing on LinkedIn is the Ascend Leadership Society. And we have another information session on July 12th. So if you haven't had a chance to find out more about that, that is a cohort of entrepreneurs and those in the workplace, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who just need some extra support, some extra coaching. I've been in career development now since 2015. And so this is a really exciting opportunity to work with myself and my partner in Shine, Arquella Hargrove. So if you want to learn more about the Ascend Leadership Society, we'll drop that link in the chat as well. And we have another information session on the 12th of July. So join us there. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is July, I'm sorry, we're past the July 12th, July 19th. Yes, thank you. I'm like, this is what happens when you have 101 things going on. Thank you for letting me know. It is July 19th. today is the way past the 12th. So thank you for that. Our last information session was on the 12th. So, and sometimes, I don't know about you all, but when you're working from home, all the dates just start to, I used to be so good about what date it is. And now it's just like, is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? I don't know. And so thank you for that. As I said before, success is not a solo sport. We need folks to help us out. So thank you for that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I don't know what's going on in any of your lives. I hope that all is well, but life is always gonna life, right? Life is always gonna life. And I just want to make the statement that it's not enough to just exist. We have to live. I'll say it again. It's not enough to just exist. We have to live. We get one life to live. If your job is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, if those in the household aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, if you're not getting what you need out of life in the pursuit of happiness, what could you do different this week? How could you advocate for yourself? I often say that our voices are tied to someone else's freedom. Oftentimes, we're not advocating for ourselves. We're not creating boundaries just for ourselves. We're creating that so that others understand what that looks like as well, right? And so I wanted to read something to you from my book, Right Within, just a little couple of passages, because our voices are so important. You understand that? There's so much going on in the world, and if we aren't the ones to speak up, then what are we passing on to the next generation? What are we role modeling for those in our lives, right? And so again, if we're just existing, then that's not living life, no matter what is going on in our lives, okay? It's important that we take what we have and we own it and we do what we can with what we got. What Mariah Carey says, I'm doing the best I can with what I got, right? And that's what we got to do, because we have this life. And what is it if we're not living the best that we can? If we're not finding those simple joys that bring us joy, right? Because again, the people around us, if we're unhappy or always in a bad mood or whatever, they don't get the best of us either, right? And so there's a lot of different things going on in each and every one of our lives, but we have the choice to live it the best that we can with what we got. And so again, our voices are so important. And if we're not talking and articulating our needs to people or our managers or our colleagues, then how do they know what good looks like for us, right? And so again, I just wanted to acknowledge that our voices are so important. You know, the cool thing about having a voice, rather audible or electronic or however you communicate, it's so important that we use it, because that's the part that provides equity. We can't control what our manager does. We can't control what our colleagues do. We can't control what our landlord does. We can't control the people stomping across over our heads when we're trying to sleep on the next floor. Sometimes we can't control those things, but we can control how we show up for ourselves. We can control. That's what we do have. We have access to our voice, right? And if people know where our boundaries are, then they understand what they're able to cross and what they're not, right? And again, you can't control everything, but no one could ever say, I didn't know how you felt. I didn't know that was a problem, right? I remember in my former life, there was a situation that arose and I just thought everybody knew that this was an issue. Like, what are we talking about? And when I went to go have a conversation with someone in senior leadership, they said, well, Minda, you never said anything about it. You never mentioned that this was a pain point. And, you know, I had to sit with myself for a little bit and say, you know what? I absolutely didn't. I thought it was obvious, right? And so some of the onus is on us, right? Because the last thing we want to do is participate in our own oppression, right? If we can provide a little bit of freedom by telling someone how we feel. But again, when we're talking about feelings, I also like to root them in fact, right? So I rarely will say, I feel like you're being disrespectful. I feel like you're being racist or sexist or homophobic or whatever ageist you insert, but lining it up with fact, right? Last week at our accountant meeting, you said X, Y, and Z. When you said that, I was very unclear about what you meant because it made me feel like you were blah, 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 blah. I'm still owning and honoring my feeling, but I'm rooting it in fact, because a lot of people can dismiss how you feel when you are just saying, I feel like you did this to me. Actually tell them exactly what they did so that they understand the connection, right? And in a business context, obviously, you want to make sure that you are presenting the best case for support for what you're feeling, right? I noticed that the last 5 applicants have all been people with red hair. I wanted to discuss maybe what having more of a diverse pool would feel like, instead of me coming into the meeting and say, "Hey, I feel like you're being racist. I feel like you're being prejudiced." Giving facts, right? Because it makes the case for support so much stronger. Okay, now you guys got me excited because I haven't been on in a little bit, but I want to read something from, if you haven't picked up, if you can see it, Right Within. This is the paperback version of Right Within, How to Heal from Racial Trauma in the Workplace. But I'm going to read from a section called Taking Our Power Back, because I think so often we give our power away and we forget that we have it. I know through a lot of my workplace experiences, I kept thinking, I have no power, I have no voice, but I always had it. I just had to decide how I wanted to use it. And I want to empower you this week to figure out what taking your power back looks like. Okay. So I'm going to read just a little bit, story time. Okay. Taking power back. I've told you the story behind how I started my company, the Memo LLC. That company probably never would have been created without the racialized trauma I experienced. I used a pain point to help spark a workplace movement that centers the careers and experiences of women of color. Not only did I start a new chapter in my career, but so many other women of color have been inspired by my journey and have taken the reins on their careers as well. They have found their voices and advocated for themselves on issues from the wage gap to promotions. They have found their courage to build their own tables. As I've said before, our healing is rarely just for us, it's always for the next generation. As we all continue to heal, we are also creating better workplaces for the next Black or brown woman who joins us in the office or at that school. As we continue to lean into our voices and rewrite, if I can get to the next page, rewrite old narratives, so many more will benefit and inherit workplaces we can all be proud of. Just for a second, think about all the women who thought their careers were over due to a loss, yet that loss ended up walking them into their purpose. Women like Oprah. Did you know she was fired from a television station in Baltimore, only later to become one of the most influential and powerful women in our lifetime? In an interview from 2011, she said, "Not all my memories of Baltimore are fond ones, but I do have fond memories of Baltimore because it grew me into a real woman. I came in naive, unskilled, and not really knowing anything about the business or about life, and Baltimore grew me up." I bet Oprah had no clue how that painful moment would lead her down an even better path. I know it's not easy to remind ourselves of that, of what's possible when we are being harmed, but I hope that you know that healing will help you live a life worth living inside and outside the workplace. Never discount how powerful it can be to take a stand for yourself and ultimately for others in the workplace all over the country. Taking a stand for what is right won't always result in colleagues or managers finally seeing the light, understanding how racialized experiences can be traumatizing and enacting change. Sometimes taking a stand is empowering in and of itself. When you take your stand in the workplace or on your healing journey, you might not be met with a gold medal or a party with lots of confetti, but you will be standing tall knowing that you are signaling to people you work with that you won't tolerate just any old behavior. You have boundaries. When you take your stand, you give yourself permission to explore what it will look like for you. It might be verbally standing up for yourself when the situation calls for it, and it might also mean engaging in problematic conversations with someone in your office who is always looking for an argument. Again, you have the power. You get to call the shots on how you want to write your story. Just remember that every story has an author. Don't let anyone else write it for you. And as you take your stand, it will empower others to take theirs as well. And the image of women of color standing up from state to state is prettier than any Picasso. There was a point in my life when I didn't see myself as radical or revolutionary or even able to take a stand. But then I realized that taking my stand was a revolutionary act. I didn't have to do it in anyone else's terms but my own. I also realized that my healing process was my own. But what I knew I couldn't help, I'm sorry, What I knew I couldn't keep to myself was how I learned to pack lighter when working in a world that doesn't always see me. Just like Colin Kaepernick took a knee, we all come to our crossroads and have to decide where we draw the line. Even though racism killed his career in 2017, Kaepernick went through his process and was able to redefine his narrative. When Kaepernick told his story, the NFL didn't get to dictate his process, even though many in the league tried. He might have ended one career, but he has inspired current and future generations to come. And so, again, when we take our stand, it's not just for us. When we use our voice, when we live this life, when we don't just exist at work, right? When we activate all the hard work that we've put in, it's so important to do that for ourselves. And that's part of self-worth, right? That's part of the self-love. And so I know that each and every one of you love yourself enough to show up for yourself this week. And so I would challenge each of us, including myself, what will it look like to show up for ourselves this week? I'm sure you can all think about what that thing is. Maybe it's not at work. Maybe it's at home. Maybe it's with family. Maybe it's with your kid's teacher, whatever it is. What does it look like to take even just a small step? I often talk about the word courage, the ability to do something that frightens one. What is that small act of courage to get you closer to taking your stand, right? All of our stands look very, very different. Some of us are way more boisterous than others. Some of us might be more introverted, extroverted, whatever it is. But we all have access to taking that stand. And so when we first started today's show, I said, let's not just exist, let's live. And part of our living is also showing up for ourselves, saying no to things, saying yes to things, right? Not living in fear, not saying, oh, it's never going to happen for me. Oh, I know what they're going to say. But what if you're surprised? I hope that you are surprised this week by an outcome that you didn't expect because you showed up for yourself. And so I'm believing in you. I'm rooting for you. And I'm just excited that we got to have this little bit of time. If you're just joining us, welcome. I am going to take a little bit of time off from Secure the Seat, but I'm still going to be active on LinkedIn. So if you're not following me, make sure you do that. And then also want to remind you that I have the Secure the Seat Writers Retreat going on this summer and fall. And then we also have the Ascend Leadership Society. So we're going to redrop those links in, and that's for everyone. So take a look at it. But again, this week or for the rest of the year, let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's live and not just exist. You know, when I hear some people say, oh, I'm just trying to make it through the day. Have you ever said that? I know I've said it before, but that's just existing. When we say, I'm just trying to make it to 5. Okay. What if we live? What would living look like until 5? Right? What would living look like till we go to bed and not just exist, right? Those little bit of joy, that little bit. Yeah, maybe today is going to be hard. Maybe someone already called or sent the email and they're already cutting up. But what would it look like to reclaim? Like Auntie Maxine said, reclaim our time. What would that look like? And that's about living, right? And you don't have to be 25 to live again. You have to be turning 30 again to get back in the game. You could do it right now from where you are. It's free, right? A lot of things are expensive these days. We have our voice. That's free. And that is priceless. All right. So this week, let's take the pledge. Let's make sure that we are taking a stand. We're showing up for ourselves, because that's part of our self-advocacy. I'm very, very big proponent of self-advocacy, because closed mouths don't get fed, right? People don't know how to show up for us. They don't know what we need. They don't have crystal balls. We have to let people know where our boundaries are. Even if they try to cross them, at least someone can say, I didn't know. She never said, he never said, they never said, right? Let's not give people that excuse to use that on us, okay? Let's redirect the energy. Let's transform our mindsets. This is our life, right? And we get to own it. That's a beautiful thing, right? We might have made mistakes when we opened up our eyes this morning, but we get to redirect. And I love that. Someone said, I love the intentionality and redirection. Thank you so much. So listen, you all know that I am a lover of grits and rap lyrics. And for those, if you're new, the only way to eat grits is with butter and salt, and sometimes shrimp. I'm old school, so I just like it butter and salt, period. But I'm going to bring my partner in Shine, Mike, up, and he's going to give us our July affirmation because you know how we do. We need our affirmations. And then I'm going to ask Mike what his lyric is this week, and I'm going to share mine. And if you have a lyric of what your favorite rap lyric is and why, we want to see it in the chat. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
How you doing, Minda?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We've been working behind the scenes, but it's been a minute. So, what's our affirmation for July?
We have a few affirmations from July. I want to put two together. One of my affirmations is I'm entering into a new season in my life. And then I also want to say I am choosing not to wait anymore. So, again, I'm entering into a new season in my life and I'm choosing not to wait anymore. A lot of times we wait for that new business, we wait for that new relationship, we wait to speak up, we wait because we're always waiting for the perfect time. We're always waiting to do something. But what if today is the point you stop waiting and just start to walk into that new season? What if this week is the moment that you speak up? What if this week is the moment you start taking notes and documenting some of the things that need to change on your job? What if this week is your moment? Because next week, there's going to be a new sequence of events. There's going to be a new sequence of things that come up. The air quality may be bad next week. Something may happen outside of your control next week. So today is your day. This week is your season, and we can't wait anymore. Sometimes we've heard this quote before: stagnation. If you stay still, it's like going backwards. It's the same thing. We have to keep moving forward. We have to keep progressing, so we make it somewhere. If you don't know what you want to do with your career, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, if you don't know these things, that's why we're providing coaching. That's why we're providing, book writing sessions. This is why we provide the help. Maybe you need to invest in yourself. You've invested in so many different things. Maybe this is the week to invest in yourself. So again, Minda, our affirmations are: I'm entering into a new season in my life and I'm choosing not to wait anymore.
Woo, I wish I had my tambourine right now because that is a tambourine moment. I'm entering into a new season today, okay? And I'm no longer going to wait. I'm no longer going to tell somebody that I don't like when they touch my hair. I'm no longer going to wait to see if X, Y, and Z does X, Y, and Z. I'm going to start activating my own power, taking back my power, right? I'm not going to wait to tell somebody the thing I should have told them 2 months ago, right? Okay, so it's important that we do that. And me and Mike didn't talk about what today's affirmation was, and it aligned with what I was talking about in the first part. And so listen, who's entering into a new season and who's not going to wait? Because again, it goes back to, we're not going to just exist any longer. We've worked too hard. We've lived too much life to just be existing. We got to live, y'all. We got to live, because the thing, like Mike said, we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what Friday brings. We don't know what 2 weeks from now brings. Okay. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a quick something, everybody. And I'm not telling you this to put a cloud over anybody's head or anything like this. But so this past weekend, I was supposed to go on a girls' trip to Sonoma, wine country, with some good girlfriends. And we had this planned out. We were going to go. And another friend of, they're more friends with my other friends, mutual friends, but I do know this woman. And she passed away a few days before we were supposed to leave. And so we weren't able to go on this trip. Okay. Now, what I'm telling you is, this woman, may she rest in peace, she is around my age, and she passed away unexpectedly. She had been sick for a little bit, but let me tell you, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I just saw her 2 weeks ago, a week ago, liking her Instagram picture. She was in Cannes, France. I don't know if you've seen everybody was in Cannes. They were doing the things out there. She was taking pictures. She was living her life. A week later, she came back, had to go to the doctor, and unfortunately, her life ended. Come to find out, she had been sick for the last few months, but she had told her husband, I got to go on this trip. This might be the last trip I'm able to take. And I want to live every single day that I can. And that hit me so hard because many of us, nothing's going on health wise. And we're not even living every minute. We're not even living every moment. We don't know what next week brings. We don't know what 5 o'clock brings today. And we have the gift of life, not just to exist, right? She was going through a thing and no one knew about it but her very, very close family. And she was still taking pictures, still doing the thing. And why many of us are scrolling and be like, I wish I was in Cannes. You don't even understand what it took for her to get there, what it took to keep living, right? So I want to honor her today. I want to honor each and every one of us because we are entering a new season where we get to live. We get to take another breath right now. I think we don't put enough respect on the lives that we get to live. Yes, there's been hardships, right? But today, right now, we get to live. We have internet to get on. We get to be in community. We get to live. We get to breathe. We get to decide what the next step is going to be in 2 minutes, perhaps. And so I just want to say that we get a chance to live. We get a chance to activate. Tell somebody you love them today. Show up for somebody else that hasn't been living, that you've just been seeing them exist, right? You hear them. We all have friends and family who are like, I don't know, I just can't make it another day. And you know what I mean? Like, let's rewrite the narrative on our lives. Let them say that we lived, not that she worked till her very last breath, that they lived the best life possible, right? Take that walk today. Do that scroll that you like to do. Read that a little bit of the chapter. All right. We get to decide that no matter what the situation calls for, we still get to live. All right. Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, and I love what you said, Minda, and I I think I think a lot of times we let other people dictate how they're going to view us when we live. This person's going to have something to say when we take that vacation. This person's going to have something to say when we move on from that job. These people don't care about you as much as you think. People, I'm sorry, this is news to somebody. I don't know who needs to hear this, but people will talk about you, then they'll move on. They'll talk about you and then they'll move on. Some people talk about you good, some people talk about you bad, but they'll move on. You're not the center of everyone's world. So you have to pour into yourself, live your life, get to the level where you're living free from other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, other people's what they think you are. Because at the end of the day, we have one life to live. And if you don't live it to the fullest, you have every opportunity now. This is every sign, this is every moment, this episode, what Minda is saying. Rest in peace to your friend. These are the moments we have. And we have to learn to live those things to the fullest. Do what you have to do. And today is your day to succeed and shine. Let's go for it.
Today is the day. Listen, we get the opportunity, y'all. We get the opportunity to live and not just exist. Okay. And I just want to say thank you. I know Mike is spitting it. He stirred something up in me. Last week I had a tough week, and I was just like, ugh, I just want to get under the covers and throw it over my head. You know what I'm saying? And but we get the opportunity to live. We get to redefine what success looks like for us. Okay. And so I'm just excited for us to be able to live today. It's just when you think about it, you don't need some extra money to be able to live. You don't need just right now, everybody just take a breath, breathe in, breathe out. Somebody isn't even able to do that right now. Like, they never got the opportunity. And right now, each and every one of us, we get to breathe in and breathe out. That's life. That's living. We get to. So let's do it, y'all. Let's do it together. Secure the seat, fam, squad. Let's activate. Let's live. Let's not just exist. Send us a message this week and let us know what living felt like for you, what it means for you. And Mike, what's your favorite rap lyric and why?
I got a rap lyric. It's by an artist named Lecrae, and the rap lyric is, "If people throw stones at you, pick them up and build something." If people throw stones at you, pick them up and build something. That's, I mean, haters are gonna hate. We got people who are gonna do stuff to us, but that doesn't define your future. That doesn't define who you are. They don't pay your rent. So we got to move on and get going. This is the time to live. This is it.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. So mine today is actually not really a rap lyric, but because we're spitting fire today, I'm going to use this, but it's actually by Frank Sinatra and it's a song called That's Life. And in one of the lyrics of the song, it says, "I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing, each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life." Not going to really sing, but you get the cadence, okay? And so that's life. We have been through some things. We're doing some things. That is life, but we get to live it. It's ours. We get to own it, right? And even when we feel like we fell flat on our face, we made all the bad choices, we chose this person, never should have let them in, never da 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 da. Went to the job that we thought was right, now it's hell, all the things. That is life. But we get to pick ourselves back up and get back in the race. And the life that Frank is talking about, that's each and every one of our lives, right? And we get to do something different with that. We get to live on, I think someone even put it in the chat, Doris, live on purpose, right? We get to do that. So let's live on purpose, y'all, today. Listen, we don't know what tomorrow brings, but today, right now, secure the seat, fam, we get to do it. And so thank you for joining us. If you came late, watch the replay. All right, it posts on my LinkedIn page, but you can also go to our YouTube page, subscribe there, secure the seat. Couple years worth of secure the seat. So on the weeks that we're on hiatus, go back and rewatch them from the beginning. My very first episode in 2020. I mean, I started a podcast in 2018, and then when COVID happened, I went live on LinkedIn. My very first guest, Felicia Butterfield Jones, great episode. And so listen, we're happy that you're here. We want you to keep securing your seat. Remember the affirmations that Mike said. If you want more affirmations, go to MikeHarts.com. And we're just rooting for you. And so we will be back in a few weeks. We'll pop in and out throughout the summer, but let's stay connected. Make sure you're following us here on LinkedIn and keep securing your seat. Have a great day and let's live, y'all. No, not just existing this week.